Hey there, welcome to day 2 of my vlog. Yes, this is my morning hair, which is why I have to wash my hair every day. And I have to go out today, but I'm thinking I might just leave it because it's definitely giving off don't mess with me vibes. Kind of crazy. Uh, so day 2. All right, I already told you that I'm doing this book. And I started, uh, even though I was supposed to start this last week, but it just arrived yesterday. So, or Friday, or I don't know, whatever, someday. And so I just did day 1 today. Now, of course, it's Sunday. I slept in forever because I needed to. And so I'm feeling pretty good today, actually, this morning. I'm having even though it's very cloudy out, I'm having a good, what do you call it? Mental health day. So I read the first day of this thing, and he's Howard Thurman, or the editor, I should say, whatever, of this book, is at least day 1 and 2. They're going through Jeremiah, and he talks about this idea of a desert shrub, feeling like a desert shrub if you rely on people. If you rely on people, on mankind. He uses the phrase man, but I'm going to guess he's really meaning mankind. Their opinion of you, whether or not you have value. So the question he poses you is, in what do you find your security, or who, and to what or whom do you appeal when you need to convince yourself that you are somebody? And then kind of poses this idea that we should about relying that we feel like a shrub if we rely on something less than God for security. So a couple thoughts I have about this. First of all, I'm an Enneagram 6, and so if you don't know about Enneagrams, I'll hook you up with my friends Megan and Deidre, and they will tell you all about Enneagrams. But Enneagram 6 have like this internal critic committee, that they look to for decision making, and like just this idea that they can't trust themselves, and so they have this committee, and so they're always kind of looking towards people outside of themselves for the truth, right? So a lot of Enneagram 6s actually end up becoming conspiracy people, because they can't trust themselves, and so they're always looking for the answers outside of themselves and truth outside of themselves, and so they get sucked in. So probably a lot of QAnon people are Enneagram 6s, which does not make me feel very good to be in cahoots with QAnon people. But so one of the things I'm really I kind of knew this about myself, and have been working with my counselor for a long time, of learning to trust myself. And so when you grow up, so when you spend a lot of time in the evangelical church, I mean, you're taught early on not to trust yourself anyway. The heart is wicked. We deceive ourselves, and we're born, from the day we're born, we're evil, and so we can't trust anybody, or we can never trust ourselves. So we're right away in evangelicalism, we are taught to trust somebody else other than ourselves. And then, while the evangelical church wants to tell you, oh, you should trust God, the people who are telling you to trust God are typically the men, and so if you have questions or doubts, what they're going to say to you is, well, you have to trust me. Like, they have the answers because they trust God, and and they're the only ones who can trust God, and so it becomes this like cyclical, bizarre thing. And what I found, at least for me, especially in the last couple of years, is when the quote unquote godly men who supposedly have all the answers and know God and who are teaching you about God, who are also telling you not to trust yourself, especially if you're a woman, because you know nothing and you're evil from the day you're born. When they fail, now I can't trust myself. I don't trust them. I don't trust God because they were the ones telling me about God and my understanding of how to interpret the Bible and what's the correct way to interpret the Bible. And so now I'm reading day 1, and Thurman's like, so what's your source of security? And how do you trust God? Well, how do you trust God? So what do you do? Like, what do you do when you don't trust other people and you don't trust God and you don't trust yourself? Right? That's the dilemma. That's, I think, where a lot of us evangelicals, especially women, are finding ourselves right now, and why we're struggling and why we're deconstructing. And that's a good question. Like, he wants you to focus on this. What do you look to, or who do you look to when you're looking for confirmation that you are somebody or that you have value? But it's a dog chasing its tail, right? Like, especially as women, we have been told you have no value. Well, I mean, unless, sex and providing men's needs, that you have no value. And so a lot of us, and I know this is really for myself, I'm sitting here and I'm saying, I'm reteaching myself to trust myself and to believe that I have value inherently just because I am a human being. I am a human being. I have been created in the image and likeness of God, and therefore I have value. No matter what I have done, no matter what I've achieved, just because I exist. And so I have to start there. I have to get to a place where I can trust myself and value myself without anybody else's opinion before I can then even reapproach God and learn to trust God again. And I'm being very critical is not the word that I want, but I'm being very intentional about who I trust as human beings. People who have proven themselves time and time again. So my husband, my children, a very select group of people group, friends that I am trusting. And I'm limiting what I trust them with. Which I know it's trauma. But you have to start somewhere. So I guess in this case, less is more. So I'm finding my security, I guess, in myself, which all the evangelicals are out there going to say is apparently a sin or selfish or whatever. But if you're deconstructing and you have religious trauma, if you've been through an adverse religious experience, that's where you have to start. Learn to trust yourself. And then we'll rebuild trust some other way with other people, and et cetera, et cetera. All right, so that's my part 2 vlog. Hope you have a great Sunday.